bought land building in a port, but hadn't done anything yet. We should try to do something with Georgetown, make it a specialty port so it can actually compete. Maybe natural gas port, maybe an agricultural port. Next year, the Panama Canal will be fully widened. I've been there, I've toured it, I've looked at what's going to happen. We're going to have an influx of ships coming to the East Coast. We want them in Savannah, Jacksonville, Charleston, Georgetown, Virginia. It's our choice. It's about leadership. It's about who's going to go up there and fight and actually know something about it.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Absolutely, I would support it. America's losing its edge, guys. We've got to be competitive in the world. How in the world, if we allow our ports to silt in, if we allow our big ships to go elsewhere, will we ever be competitive in the world? We've got to stop the giveaway programs. We've got to focus our efforts on things that will bring returns. Infrastructure is a vital part of government service. The port is a vital part of our national infrastructure.
Essential infrastructure for South Carolina. I can tell you the opportunity was great with widening the Panama Canal being completed in 2014. When I served in the governor's cabinet, I served 8 years in the Coordinating Council for Economic Development for this state, and I can tell you that the Port of Charleston is one of the greatest economic generators in this state, and there's tremendous opportunity, as demonstrated by the Ports Authority study, for the Great Wall Port of Georgetown, if indeed we're able to dredge the port.
Mr. Brosky, an elected official sometimes has to make a decision that is at odds with what most local members of the public are advocating. I know you know that because you serve on the county council. How will you distinguish between the true desire of the public and what you believe the long-term best interest of the people of the 7th Congressional District to be? How will you reconcile this conflict? Do you always go with what the people in the audience are telling you? Or do you, after studying the issue and understanding what you understand with God's help, the best course to be, choose the more difficult path? And that is to try and educate the citizens of why you will vote contrary to their expressed beliefs. In other words, are you willing to risk your re-election by taking an unpopular position that in your heart you know is in the long-term best interest of the district?
Absolutely, because I think too many members of Congress are interested in job preservation and not interested in doing the right thing. I can tell you there have been many times when I chaired the county council where I faced a crowd in a room much larger than this one that were all opposed to some action that we were taking, after due consideration. When I look at these decisions, these important decisions, I look at the long-term benefit to the folks of South Carolina and to this district. And the problem is we've had way too much short-term thinking. That's why we're almost $16 trillion in debt. Every day when my 9-year-old, my 12-year-old go to school, the national debt goes up $1.25 billion. That's because of short-term decisions that are being made in Congress. And Congress is neither willing to do the big, brave things that it takes to make meaningful change to its spending and our mandatory programs, nor are they willing to do small, common sense things that we all know to be right here in this district, and things that I learned to do on the county council. Those are the difficult problems that we have to tackle. But at the end of the day, when I come home and I look my children in the eye, I have to be able to justify to them that I'm doing the right thing for them and for their generation, and that's what will guide my decision.
My question is for Jay Jordan, and I want to go back to your opening remarks. And you said in your opening remarks that you support term limits for senators and congressmen. Right now, House of Representatives serves 2-year terms, senators serve 6-year terms. And this question, well, I was going to say it could go to all of you, but let's just stick with Mr. Jordan. How long do you think, how many terms should somebody be able to serve in the Senate or the House? And do you think that the length of the term should be changed at all?
As it stands right now, with the current model we have, I believe the best model would be to let House of Representative members serve for 3 2-year terms, 6 years, and senators serve for 2 6-year terms. I believe term limits is a solution that we need to consider. I didn't always believe that. I'll be completely honest about that. The Bottom line is you cannot ignore statistics that the longer someone stays in Washington, the more they vote for what was better for them instead of what's best, period. That's the only way we're going to effectuate change. Now, the real solution, I think, would be to consider changing the model completely. Let Congress for 2 4-year terms. Just if it's good enough for a president or a governor, why not good enough for the House of Representatives? I think you would see an opportunity there. You wouldn't have Congress out there running for re-election every 2 years and trying to raise money constantly. They'd be actually doing the work of the people. They'd have and they would know there's a finite time. You have a finite time period to go up there, work your heart out, represent the people to the best of your ability, and then go home and live under the laws you helped put in place. Until we were willing to look at this as a viable solution. The reason I believe in it so much, I get so sick and tired of politicians standing up and saying, we need to do this and we need to do that, and nothing ever happens. It's rhetoric. This is a reasonable opportunity or way to actually accomplish something. You can't ignore the fact, after 6 years and then after 8, spending from a congressman or woman goes up dramatically. It's a reasonable way to slow down spending and make sure we get new and fresh ideas in Congress and the people that are there, most importantly, for the right reasons.
Mr. Rice, being a mayor from rural South Carolina and understanding that half of the cities in South Carolina are under 1,000 in population, the rural areas are something that are a great concern to me personally and to the members of this district. Having spent the last 4 years focusing on the needs of the beach, tell us how you would focus on the needs of those in Darlington County and Florence County over the needs of Horry County.
If these kind people will bless me enough to send me to Congress to represent them, I'll represent this entire district. When I ran for chairman of county council, I didn't have the money for a poll, but I didn't need a poll to tell me that the most important thing for the rural areas and the urban areas was jobs. I believe, when I got on county council, we put together a group of businessmen and came up with a strategy, went to county council, and they stepped up and funded it. We implemented that strategy and funded it last July. Horry County had been producing 106 jobs a year, and I know you guys don't want to hear about Horry County, but I have to tell you about this to tell you that I do what I say. We implemented the strategy. We've been producing 106 jobs a year for the last 3 years. So far, in 10 months, we've produced 350 jobs. We've got a new economic development corporation in place. There are 20 lined up, 20 prospects lined up, and it's going to grow from there. All we had to do was make ourselves competitive. We had to look around and see why we weren't competitive. I think that same thing applies nationwide. For decades, we have sat and watched millions of American jobs, many from this PD area, go overseas. And I think the reason is simple, is because we're not business friendly. We might think we are, we might say we are, but when we have the highest corporate tax rate in the world, when we regulate every aspect of business and every aspect of American life to the nth degree, so that it costs so much to open a business and employ people, is it any wonder that all these millions of jobs operate overseas? All they want to do is make a profit and keep as much as they can of that profit. When they have a higher regulatory burden, among the highest in the world here in this country, and when they have the highest corporate tax rate in the world, how do we expect to be competitive? No, sir, I'll fight for lower tax, flat tax, lower corporate tax rates. I will fight for less regulation, and I think that will bring jobs back to this entire area. Thank you.
So, as a follow-up, Mr. Jordan, you being the only one that lives outside of Horry County, tell us how you will represent the folks down there as well.
I think I agree. Anyone who runs for this office has an obligation and responsibility to represent every person in this district, whether they vote for you or not, whether they live down the street from you or whether they live an hour from you. The folks in Horry have significant needs, just like we have significant needs. The point is we need to send someone to Washington that has a core value system in place that is equipped and capable of representing everyone, not pandering to the particular constituents, not only taking care of the folks that give them money and push for their election options. We need someone that'll stand up for everyone in this district. And I'm not is something we don't have a choice in.